Alright folks, I was going to tell y'all to go out and greenlight this game called Star Horizon, but it looks like it made it through Steam Greenlight. I'm not sure why I'd be interested in such a game, though. What a mystery. Anyway, time to talk about the inevitable DOA 5 The Last Round launch shitstorm. I was actually going to make a Metable telling y'all to brace for a shitstorm, but at this point it's pretty much inevitable. Look, every time a new DOA 5, like, big patch or release or something comes out, shit always goes wrong. And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one is Team Ninja biting off way more than they can chew. I mean, they're releasing this game right now on 4 systems, with the PC release coming later, simultaneously in 3 different regions, and that's, 4 different system architectures, 3 different network architectures that they're dealing with. They're trying to take data from the previous generation and let you put it on the new generation, which, like, technically, Dragon Age Inquisition didn't even pull that off on 360. Like, you're not supposed to be able to take 360 data and get it on Xbox One. At Dragon Age Inquisition couldn't even pull that off, and yet they're trying to do that. They're trying to make the DLC port over from the previous generation to the new generation. They're dealing with 3 different Microsofts and 3 different Sonys, and they're basically begging them not to screw up. Look, and you have the 3 different free-to-play releases, the 4 different digital releases, and the 2 different physical releases, and then you have the multiple pre-order bonus DLCs, and basically Team Ninja is desperately trying to get everyone on the same page and asking them all not to screw up. Look, the more parts there are to any plan, the more things that can go wrong. And with this many parts, there's a lot that can go wrong, and a lot did. And part of that, a huge part of that, is the fact that no one gives a fuck. Like, Sony rarely advertises the fact that they have DOA 5, like, as a free-to-play thing. They have, like, a free-to-play section. They don't really show that DOA 5 is on there. They don't really talk about core fighters. They don't really promote the costume packs when they come out. Microsoft is even worse about this. They just, there aren't a lot of, like, retailers super promoting this. A lot of people don't know what's going on with this. It doesn't generate a lot of hype. I was literally just watching a tournament that it was Winter Brawl 9, and they were playing DOA 5 The Last Round in it, and there were people saying, wait, people play this competitively in tournaments? Like, it doesn't get enough of a push. That's a huge part of what's holding it back. People don't give enough of a fuck. And as such, a lot of things went wrong. So let's start from the top with the thing that went the most wrong, the Xbox 360 release. You see, one of the really cool things they're doing here is if you already own DOA 5 Ultimate, it auto-patches up to Last Round. You technically already own the game. You just need to buy the new DLC characters, Honoka and Raido. You don't need to actually go out and purchase the game. So, yay, that's really awesome, right? Problem is, the 360 has kind of an awkward patching system. You see, patches on 360 aren't stored in memory, they're stored in the cache. As such, there's like a 20 megabyte limit on how big patches can be. So when you're adding whole new characters and stages and moves and all these balance tweaks, you can't fit that into 20 megabytes stored in temporary memory. So they have to pack that data into some of the costume catalogs, which confuses a lot of 360 players because they'll boot the game up and they're like, what the crap, why is everything locked? And why is it telling me that I have to download these costume catalogs? This is bullshit. Well, Microsoft's patching system is bullshit. So that's kind of an issue there. But what happened is that DOA 5 The Last Round can import data from DOA 5 Ultimate and turn it into Last Round data. But it only actually natively loads Last Round data. Well, here's the crazy thing that happened. If you don't have the necessary costume packs, of which there's a bunch, then when you boot up DOA 5 Ultimate and it auto-patches into the last round, it doesn't have the necessary stuff in place to load your old DOA 5 Ultimate data and convert it into last round data. And if you go to the store from that menu, then it will overwrite your DOA 5 Ultimate data with last round data, and you lose all your save data. It's a big, complicated, stupid mess. Team Ninja should have seen this coming. They should have built in some kind of workaround. But I guess they didn't test it enough, and honestly, it's part of the big shift from DOA 5, from Vanilla into Ultimate and Last Round. Because DOA 5 Vanilla, the 360 was the main system. The PS3 was the one that got all the screw-ups and didn't run quite as well. DOA 5 Ultimate, the PS3 was the main system. 360 was the port. And same thing applies to the Last Round. So, yeah, things kind of got screwed up there. Next up, we have the Xbox One release, which apparently has a really bad freezing bug. Every time you beat arcade mode, the game just freezes. So that means you can't really unlock new costumes or make much progress, or really do much of anything on the Xbox One. I'm not sure if they've patched that yet, because Team Ninja doesn't just, like, sit on their asses. They are in emergency overdrive mode. Like, once they were alerted about that problem on 360, they put it on the ticker, warning, do not let the game save get these things, and hopefully they'll release some kind of better patch that makes that whole thing work better, I hope. But yeah, it's a bit of a clusterfuck. On Xbox One, we have game freezing issues. On PS3, Sony kind of forgot to release the digital version of the game. So it's gotten pushed back a week. It's not really that big of an issue, though, because if you have Ultimate Core Fighters, like they haven't released Last Round Core Fighters, but Ultimate Core Fighters auto updates and Ultimate auto updates. So that's all perfectly fine. And on PS4, the worst issue is that a few of the costume pack DLCs aren't porting over properly, which is an issue that I'm personally having. Like, the big ones I'm noticing is that the full packs aren't porting over, but the individual costumes from them are. Like, I bought the full bunny suit pack, and that isn't porting over, but each individual bunny suit is. So that just means it takes a little more time to re-download the costumes, because the way they're doing porting the DLC over is that basically you go to the store, anything you bought on the previous generation system will show up as being free. Like, you won't have to pay for it, and you just re-download it as a free download, which apparently is the easiest and best way to work this. And so, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. The bigger deal is the fact that my Hot Getaway costumes aren't porting over. Like, that's the only one that's really smacking me in the face. Also, weirdly, they haven't released the costume catalogs for the pre-order DLC to the public on PS4 that I've noticed, which is a bit of a shame because, of course, I have the Amazon pre-order DLC. Now, that brings me to my own unique personal issues, which was with the Amazon purchase. You see, obviously, I'm a Lisa player. I wanted the Lisa pre-order DLC outfit. So I pre-ordered at Amazon.com. I was like, hey, you guys, send me this. And I was like, you know what? I can't wait another day. I paid $5 extra to have it delivered same freaking day. But the scary thing was, they weren't mentioning that they had pre-ordered DLC. And Team Ninja's hopping up and down going, there's pre-ordered DLC at different retailers. Check with them to find out what you get. And we know Amazon has some kind of pre-ordered DLC, but they weren't advertising it. So I sent them a thing. I was like, hey, you aren't advertising your pre-order DLC, you're supposed to have it. Eventually, like, they briefly put up a thing saying, this is our pre-order DLC, this is what we have, and Amazon's, now they're advertising it, so I'm like, phew, good. But then, of course, they take that down, like, when it's too late to do that pre-order. Okay, fine. Well, guess what? The release of DOA 5 rolls around, and I still don't have my game. Even though I chose same-day shipping, and people report that Amazon's really good about this, they didn't get it to me. I tracked the package. It started in Indiana. And inexplicably, they sent it to Kansas before going back to Missouri. They could have had it at my house that same day, but for some reason they sent it to fucking Kansas first, which is like an equal amount of distance in the opposite direction almost. So someone screwed up something there, and I was not alone. Like, there were a bunch of people who were like, yeah, I ordered same day and I still don't have my DOA 5. But even stranger was that I didn't have the DLC. So I made a thread on GameFAQs saying, hey, did y'all get your DLC pre-order codes? What's going on with that? Because this is the first time I've really pre-ordered with Amazon. And some people did, but a lot of people didn't. And they started calling Amazon, and everyone got different answers. Like, some people were told there was no DLC, or you had to pre-order between, like, February 8th and February 11th to get the DLC, or Team Ninja hadn't sent them the DLC codes, which is bullshit, because some people got the DLC. It certainly fucking exists. So what I did, I sent them an email, because I didn't have the game yet anyway, so it didn't matter if I called them on the phone. I sent them an email, contacted the customer service, I linked them back to that thread. Oh yeah, one guy even got his game for free. Like, Amazon was like, there's so little we can do about this, we will just refund your entire purchase, you get the game for free. Which, yo, wow. So I sent them a link to this thread, and I said, yo, this is an issue, clearly it's not just me, I know this will probably take a minute to work out, but I would suggest contacting some people. And since it wasn't like over the phone demanding an immediate answer, they were able to talk to supervisors and let them know that this was really an issue that was affecting a lot of people. There's supposed to be something here, something went wrong, and they were able to get me my code. So special thanks to Joyita S. Interesting name, Joyita S. She is the person who fixed this problem for me. Yo, I'm not going to sit here and bash Amazon when, yo, without giving credit to the customer service person who helped me out. So thank you, Joyita. Everything worked out. I have my DLC costumes, my pre-order DLC. They're fucking wonderful. I love them. I love them. I love them. Speaking of which, and more companies not caring, GameStop. Have you been to a GameStop and seen their preview for DOA 5 The Last Round? Two things about that. Number one, they say it comes with all the DLC. It most certainly does not, because that would be crazy. Number two, though, and this really amuses me, their gameplay footage is showing the Best Buy pre-order costumes. And they don't, like, say this is the GameStop pre-orders. They don't say that. They show what the GameStop pre-orders are, and they're not that. It's a little Aloha pack and the Ninja pack. But, yeah, Showstoppers Encore, which is the stuff they're showing on the screen, that's Best Buy, and they're showing that. So, there you go. Good amount of fuck-ups all around on every front. I don't know how GameStop and Best Buy screwed it up, but I'm sure they did. So how about we flip it around and talk about something happy? Something that went right with this. You see, since I didn't have my copy of the game, I'm sitting there and I'm going, how can I get screwed out of the last round? You know, wait a second, there's free-to-play versions and stuff, and Ultimate's supposed to upgrade. So I pop in my Ultimate, it upgrades, it becomes the last round, I see that, yo, all I have to do is purchase Honoka, and Raido if I wanted him. But that, and I was like, okay, that's really cool, because I remember when the DLC characters were coming out, people were all like, oh, I'm gonna wait because, like, they thought Marie Rose wouldn't be a DLC character, they thought she'd only be included in DOA 5 Ultimate Arcade Edition, or something, and that proved to be false. She was a real DLC character. Same thing with Phase Force, same thing with Myo Tengu, and I was like, great, that means I don't need to purchase a new game to get new characters. And then they announced the last round, it has 2 new characters, and I'm like, okay, so we make an exception here, but no! If you have Ultimate, you can just purchase those characters as DLC, and because they're standard characters now, instead of new special characters, they're only $4 a piece. They've dropped the price on the characters. Now, Honoka has a launch day pack that comes with like a few of the DLC outfits other characters got that she didn't, like the bunny suit, the nurse, the maid outfit. And I was like, oh, that's really neat. Okay, that's $10. I know I want the bunny suit and the cheerleader outfit, and purchasing Honoka bunny suit cheerleader outfit, that's basically $10 right there. So let's just get the full pack, and this was where I had to place my faith in Team Ninja. My theory was, if I purchase Honoka and the costume pack, not only would I be able to play Honoka previous gen on my PS3, which I needed, because most of the people I play with online are playing the free-to-play version, Core Fighters, on PS3, and, they don't have a lot of money, so they can't really purchase a new system. They can't purchase all the characters. They can't purchase a friggin' boxed release. So I was like, okay, I know I want to play Honoka against them. Let's just get her and the costumes. And in theory, when my PS4 version comes, I should be able to get those costumes, right? So I did that, and I got impatient, and I installed the Core Fighters on PS4. Guess what? Number one, before I had the disc release of Ultimate on PS3, I had just purchased Lisa so I could play a friend of mine in Hong Kong, because he only had it on PS3, and it's like, it's only $6, and Lisa's the only character I use anyway. Guess what? That Lisa character purchase that I had on Ultimate Core Fighters, that carried over. So I had Lisa waiting for me on DOA 5 the last round, along with the Marie Rose Phase 4 Neo Tengu I had previously purchased to play in Ultimate, and the Honoka I had just purchased on PS3, and all her DLC outfits, and all my old DLC outfits. They were all there waiting for me. I just had to re-download them, click, click, click. Everything worked out fine, except that I can't get to the Hot Getaway costumes. And then the next day, the game disc comes, I pop it in, it installs, I have access to the full game and all the DLC I just downloaded and all the Honoka costumes, and everything is happy and great, and everything worked out fine. That's what Team Ninja is aiming for. I fully respect them on that, because a lot of other companies wouldn't have bothered. A lot of other companies would have said, you just need to repurchase the DLC. A lot of other companies would have said, you just need to repurchase the characters. I've been screwed over a lot this generation. So I was very, very happy about that. Happy enough that I will defend the $93 costume now. Okay. The $93 costume is a bit of a running joke. Basically, Team Ninja decided, hey, why don't we do a season pass this time? And the season pass is $93, and it guarantees you 78 costumes that are going to be released for the last round. So yeah, no, it doesn't have all the DLC, because they're going to be releasing plenty more DLC, including Senran Kagura crossover costumes coming in March, probably to coincide with the new Senran Kagura game. So, we have the season pass. It's $93, 78 costumes. Technically, that is saving you money. Let me bring up the calculator again, because I don't do math in my head. I believe it's 100. Let me double check. 78 costumes at $2 a piece. That is $156 worth of content, arguably, for $93. So that means that you are saving $63 if you purchase that pack. And the special bonus, if you get the season pass, you get a special Marie Rose outfit you only get from buying the season pass, which is why they call it the $93 costume. It's not really that big of a deal, though. It's actually just her default costume in all white, which looks phenomenal, but people are calling it the bling of DOA 5. If you have the Marie Rose white costume, then you're rolling in dough. That is how you show off. I'm very amused that that's how they did the season pass. But in reality, it's the same concept as the colored Shy Guys and Yoshis from the Mario Kart DLC. Remember that? If you pre-purchased the DLC, which was effectively a season pass, then they gave you alternate Shy Guy and Yoshi colors, which was a really cool bonus. It's not a big thing that everyone's going to go crazy for, but it's a nice way of saying, hey, thanks for paying in advance. And that is how I defend the $93 costume. I know, it's a bit ridiculous, but welcome to DOA. And, people always feel like honestly, I'm not getting it. I don't need the season pass, because I know Lisa isn't going to get that many costumes, and I only purchase the costumes I want. So, anything they release for Lisa, and the occasional, super cool outfit for Tina, or Lei Fang, or Marie Rose, or Honoka, because I'm really liking Honoka. She has all the moves. She has, all the most memorable moves in the game from all the characters, but toned down. So she actually has Brad Wong's, like, she has a drunken boxing string for Brad Wong. It's the one where he does the hip check. She has 3 butt moves. She has Tina's, she has Brad Wong's, and she has Lisa's. She also has Lisa's spinny capoeira down back kick move. So that's really awesome. But my favorite thing is she takes a move from base, where he, like, just shoves his chest at you. Except, you know, Honoka has huge breasts. And I swear her English dub, she's probably saying, like, blast, or burst, or crush, or press, or pram. I don't know. But what it sounds like she's shouting breasts while smacking you with her tits. And it's a critical burst, too. So it's actually a really good move. I'm sorry, I'm too amused by titty smacking people with Honoka. It just titty smacking all day long. It's amazing. So that's what's going on with DOA 5 the last round. I'm enjoying it. I think it's a very nice game. And I hope the footage hasn't bothered you. I can't record 1080p 60 FPS, come to find out. I could do 720p 60 FPS or 1080p 30 FPS. I usually do 720p 60 FPS, but I decided this time we're doing 1080p 30 FPS since that's the new PS4 resolution. Either way, one more awesome thing. While you don't get the new hairstyles, everyone gets new hairstyles in DOA 5 the last round, and also the menu that shows up that gives you the hairstyle select and if you want glasses on or off, it has a section labeled detail. In the earlier betas, it said underwear, because that was the underwear select. But they were like, let's be a little less blatant about that. So they made it a little less blatant. Also, new to DOA 5 the last round, they've put in DOA 1 music and the Warriors Orochi remixes of the DOA music that was in there for, you know, Ryu Hayabusa and Ayane and Kasumi and I'd assume Rachel as well. So, yo, that's actually pretty awesome. But the super cool thing, while you don't get the new hairstyles in the previous generation, when you upgrade and update it, you do get the fan costumes as free unlockables. Drunkarov, he's already there in Ultimate. Elliot in a kilt, already there in Ultimate. They're waiting right there. It's just an update. And kudos on them on that one. I'm very pleased that Team Ninja was actually giving those costumes away basically for free for anyone that already had Ultimate. That was a really nice gesture on their part. Having said that, you're probably going to want to upgrade soon. According to Team Ninja, they're apparently reaching, like, the DLC and patching limit of the previous generation. They're saying they cannot guarantee that they can continue supporting this. The new stages aren't in. They're not sure how many new costumes they can get in there. They are making no guarantees right now. I am very pleased that they aren't screwing over older players and that they still have something they can practice on for tournaments. But we're going to see a lot less on the previous generation systems due to some kind of crazy technical restriction. Which supposedly Team Ninja says they're working with Microsoft and Sony. They want to keep updating this. And I do trust them. Because while Koei Tecmo releases they release new costumes monthly. Bi-monthly in March this time. They've got like a release schedule. They're constantly releasing all these new costumes. But it really feels like they respect my money and me as a customer. Like it feels like they don't want to screw me over. They want my money. They want as much of my money as they can get. But I really feel like they're treating me right in taking hundreds of my dollars for DLC costumes. It's hard to explain. So I do actually trust that they're working on this. Because, of course, if they can release new DLC costumes previous generation, that boosts the sales of those costumes at, like, no extra work for them. You know, the costumes, they port between systems nice and easy. They make one costume. If they can release it on 4 systems instead of 2, that would be great. Oh yeah, and then there's the Steam version coming. People, like I said, shitstorms tend to happen. Brace yourself. The Steam versions have been delayed till March 30th, which is my birthday. It's going to be a rough launch. I have no proof of this. I just know it will be. Koei Tecmo doesn't release a lot of PC games. A lot of Japanese developers don't know how to optimize their games properly on PCs because they're used to them looking at running a very specific way on consoles. So they tend to be a bit more restrictive and not as optimized in terms of system requirements. So it might be locked at a 1080p resolution. It certainly wouldn't let you go over 60 FPS. I expect it to be 1080p 60 FPS. If it's 720p, I would find that weird. But it's probably not going to be very optimized. I hear they're patching in online play later, and they are begging people not to mod it because Team Ninja, I don't think they know anything about how to protect against certain mods. So hackers, like when online play starts, hackers will easily be able to just cause stupid shit to happen. You know there'll be a nude mod launch. Shoot, there's like already a nude mod if you have a hacked PS3, I think. So there'll be a nude mod either launch day or day afterwards. That's not the issue. The issue for them, of course, is if people start stealing the DLC, that could cut into their profit margins because, people could go, oh, why pay the $2 on PlayStation when I can just get it for free on PC? I mean, shoot, DOA DLC costumes get ported to Skyrim within a few days. I expect them to be ported to DOA within a few minutes, if not seconds. So there's a little bit of concern there, and I don't think they can put enough control on it. I think they're mostly going to look at their bottom line and how this affects it across the board. I have a little bit of faith in them in that regard, because one of the weird things with piracy is a lot of the people who pirate games at presumably DLC wouldn't have really purchased them in the first place. Like, the guy I know who constantly screams about the DLC costumes in DOA showing up in Skyrim, he doesn't have a lot of money. He purchases the DLC costumes in DOA when he can, but he usually can't. So it shouldn't affect their profit margin either way. In general, it should make them more money, and I do hope that they look specifically at their profits and not at theories. Like when they see people bootlegging the DLC, I hope they just look at that and say, well, they wouldn't have bought it anyway because it hasn't affected our profit margins in any significant way, rather than pulling the plug on the PC release. Koei Tecmo knows very little about PC release. That's all I'm saying. So the Steam release, it's going to be a little rocky. There's going to be some speed bumps. But it is coming, because people did demand it. It was written on both of the costume contests. There was one guy that wrote, "Bring it to PC" on every single piece of costume he submitted. And basically said that it was the only reason he was submitting costumes was, I just want this shit on PC, and I want Team Ninja to look at it and know. So it's coming, PC fans. And I will probably own the PC release, but it's gonna be a little shaky, is all I'm saying. So brace yourselves. Be gentle with Team Ninja. They're trying their best to be gentle with us. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm a raging Koei Tecmo fanboy now. Aside from the fact that I love Dynasty Warriors, which I still need to talk about Samurai Warriors 4, but aside from the fact that I love Dynasty Warriors, I'm really pleased with how Koei has been handling Tecmo, since the buyout. I think they've been doing a very good job. I love both companies. I think it's been a very amicable merger, and I think it really feels like they're doing DLC right, that they're doing updates right, you know, they're sponsoring fan tournaments, they're putting monies in the pots, they're constantly updating and patching and balancing this game. They've done the arcade release, which, yes, the arcade release of Ultimate has been upgraded to last round with Honoka and Raido. They've listened to the fans in every regard, and I really appreciate a company that is willing to listen to their fans in all the countries. And I know that there's a lot of fuck-ups, and we have every reason to be pissed at those fuck-ups. Just know that the fuck-ups happen for a multitude of reasons. Yeah, I'm sorry, I feel like they're the only company that isn't fucking me right now, okay? Maybe they just use enough lube, whatever. But I don't feel like Koei Tecmo fucks me over the way that Capcom does. Or even, I like Namco, but sometimes Namco, they kind of fuck me. It happens. I appreciate it when it doesn't. So, thank you to Koei Tecmo. And also, in the closing note, is everyone enjoying the Rail Shooter Archive? I know I've had a bunch of people who are like, I'm not really that big a fan of rail shooters, but I guess I'm vaguely interested in this just to see how it goes. How you liking it? Because I'm loving it. Like, I know it might be irritating that, oh, hey, Gel's actually putting out a bunch of videos. Oh, wait, they're all on the same fucking genre. It's all spaceships flying straight ahead shooting at things. But it's the best idea I ever had because, like, I've gotten a few good suggestions. But along the way, I remember rail shooters, or I bump into rail shooters. Like, they're not well organized. Like, on Game FAQs, a lot of rail shooters are counted as vertical scrolling shooters. It's really weird. So I keep bumping into these games, and I go, that's a rail shooter, and I add it to the list. And normally, like, I try to remember it, and I just forget about it. There's no incentive to try to play it. Now, there's an incentive. I can do an episode. And when I start looking up information on that game, I usually find people suggesting similar games and saying, hey, what about this game? Hey, what about this game? Or I get suggestions from, like, YouTube and stuff. And eventually, I bump into yet another super obscure rail shooter that I've never heard of. Like, there's one called Aquajack. Never heard of Aquajack. I only found it because when I was doing a Google image search for, I think it was, oh geez, what was it for? I think it was NES rail shooters. Like, I was trying to see what other rail, no, not NES. Might have been Famicom. Might have been Famicom rail shooters. Wait, no, that's the same thing as NES. What am I saying? Master System, that's what I meant to say. I think I was searching up Master System rail shooters, and I saw a picture of this thing that looked like Thunderblade, but wasn't Thunderblade. I clicked that, and it took me to a thread on, I think the site was called Racket Boy, and this person tried to outline the history of rail shooters, like up to about Rez, and I was like, well, there's a couple names on this I've never heard of. What's Exarion? Well, that's almost a rail shooter. What's Aquajack? Well, that's interesting. I'd count that as a rail shooter. And then, I look up, and then he mentions, Falcion and Cosmic Epsilon. I had completely forgotten about Cosmic Epsilon. I had, like, bookmarked that, and never got around to playing it. And Falcion, I had never heard of, and, well, that episode's coming up soon. I fell completely in love with that game. So I'm just looking at this, and all of a sudden I've just found this pile of random rail shooters. And then, when you make a list like that, you keep it in the back of your mind, every day, you search around, hey, what about rail shooters from this company? What about rail shooters from this company? Then you just bump into things, you add them to the list, and it just grows and grows. I'm finding so many rail shooters, and there's quite a few clunkers out there, but there's some that are just really fun to play, that I'm having a blast with. This was the best idea I've ever had. Seriously, I legitimately feel like this is the best idea I have ever had. was just listing these rail shooters, because now I'm just finding them left and right. And I hope that you're enjoying me just rambling about these things. And speaking of rambling, I've rambled for long enough about DOA and rail shooters. Hope y'all are having fun. And, hey, Dragon Ball Xenoverse is coming soon. Even though I hate dimps, kind of get me on this one. Because, custom characters, online play, female Majins with tentacle heads. You know what? Someone asked me, I know, I'm trying to end this episode. I'm like my grandmother here. Someone asked me what I thought this year was. Because, like, last year was Year of the Dog, and everything had a dog in it, or dog in the title. Maybe it was year before last, I forget. This year, I have two things. One, I think it could be Year of the Point-and-Click Adventure. It looks like they are making a huge comeback. We just got the Grim Fandango remake. Life is Strange came out. There's a bunch of stuff from Telltale Games coming out, because now they're, like, famous for doing these modern-day takes on point-and-click adventures that people are just loving, and there's so much focus on these story-driven, movie-like games that I think we're going to see a lot of point-and-click adventure, movie-like games this year. I think it's going to be the year of the return of the point-and-click. Other theory, Year of Tentacle Hair. Because we got Splatoon, and we got female Majins, and I don't know what else could be on the horizon. But I think tentacle-headed women are in this year. Why, we may even get a point-and-click adventure with a tentacle-headed woman, and that would define the year 2015. Maybe. I could be completely wrong. Anyway, I need to shut up now. See y'all later!
So, Ayane, are you some kind of ninja? Are you serious?